was early fall back in 1995. My name's Monica, and I lived in a small town called River Falls, Wisconsin, with my kids. I've got three of them, two boys and my daughter Jessica. She was 13 then, this bright, quiet girl with curly brown hair and a big imagination. She loved drawing and writing stories, always had a pencil in her hand, scribbling in notebooks or sketching little pictures. She was my youngest, and we were close, especially after me and her dad split up a few years before. The divorce wasn't easy on any of us, but Jessica took it hard. She'd spend hours in her room, working on her art, like it was her way of figuring things out. Jessica lived with me most of the time, but she'd go see her dad, Tom, every other weekend. He lived a couple of towns over, about a half-hour drive. Things between me and Tom weren't great. We didn't talk much unless it was about the kids, but we made it work for them. That September on the 14th, it was his turn to have her. I packed her bag, some clothes, her sketchbook, a few pencils, and kissed her goodbye. "See you Sunday," I said, waving as she climbed into Tom's truck. She smiled back, a little shy, like always. I didn't think anything of it. It was just another weekend. Sunday came, and Tom was supposed to drop her off by 6. 6 came and went. No Jessica, no call. I tried his phone, but it just rang. Finally, around 7, he picked up. "I think Jessica ran away," he said, his voice all flat. I didn't believe it, not for a second. "What do you mean, ran away?" I asked. "She's 13. Where would she go?" He didn't say much at first, just kept repeating that she was gone. I got mad then. "Who was she with, Tom? Tell me." He waited a bit, then said, "She was with Daniel Reese." Daniel Reese. That name made me feel sick. He was this guy who used to live next door to us. Back when Jessica was little, maybe 8 or 9. Him and his kid, Ethan, moved in around 1991. Ethan was Jessica's age, and they'd play together sometimes, riding bikes, kicking a ball around. Daniel got a job at her school as a teacher's aide not long after. He seemed okay at first, quiet, polite, but he started helping with this art club Jessica joined. She loved it, said he told her she was good at writing, that she could be an author someday. I was happy for her until I noticed how much time he spent with her. He'd pull her aside during club, keep her late, even offered to walk her home a couple times. It didn't feel right. I told him once, real nice, "Hey, Daniel, you're great, but I'd rather Jessica not hang out with you so much." He said he understood, apologized, and that was that, or so I thought. Then a year later, he moved out. I felt better, like we were done with him. But when I found out where he went, right across the street from Tom's house, I got scared. It was too close. I told Tom about it, said I didn't trust the guy, but he brushed it off. "He's fine, Monica. You worry too much," he'd say. I even called a lawyer to see if I could stop Daniel from being around her at Tom's, but they said I couldn't do anything unless I had proof he was trouble. That Sunday, when Tom said Jessica was with Daniel, I knew something was wrong. He told me Daniel was taking her to Green Bay to meet some guy about her writing, like a publisher or something. Tom thought it was a big chance for her, didn't even tell me beforehand. "They left yesterday," he said. "They didn't come back." I yelled at him then. "You let her go with him? Alone? You didn't ask me?" He didn't have an answer. I hung up and called the police right away. A few days later, a letter showed up at my house. It was in Jessica's handwriting, messy like hers, but the words didn't sound like her. "Don't look for me," it said. "I'm safe. I ran away." I read it over and over, trying to make sense of it. Jessica didn't talk like that. She'd never say, "Don't look for me." She loved us, loved her brothers, her room, her art. I could tell someone told her what to write. I showed it to the cops, said, "This isn't her. Someone's got her. Daniel's got her." They started looking into it, but it wasn't fast enough for me. The next few weeks were awful. I couldn't sleep, couldn't eat, just kept picturing her out there, scared, with him. We didn't know where they'd gone after Green Bay. Tom said Daniel's car was missing, and when the police checked his house, his ex-wife and Ethan were there, acting like nothing was wrong. They said Daniel told them he was traveling for work and had moved them back in to take care of the place. It didn't add up. The cops searched anyway and found receipts, stuff he'd bought before he left. Duct tape, rope, a knife, things that made my skin crawl. "He planned this," one officer said. "He's not coming back." Brother Mark and the rest of our family started doing everything we could. We made posters with Jessica's picture, her school photo, smiling with her hair pulled back, and put them up all over town. We went on TV, talked to newspapers, begged anyone who'd listen to help us find her. Mark was amazing. He'd drive hours to check leads, talk to people, anything to keep going. "She's out there," he'd say. "We're bringing her home." I held on to that. I wouldn't let myself think she was gone. Not for a second. Days turned into weeks, then months. Fall got cold, leaves fell, and still nothing. The police found Daniel's car at an airport in St. Louis in November. Empty, parked in a lot. They couldn't tell where he'd gone from there. Back then, you could get on a plane with any name. No real checks. It was like he'd vanished with her. I'd sit in her room at night, looking at her drawings taped to the walls. Little houses, trees, stories she'd started. I'd talk to her in my head, tell her to hang on, that we weren't giving up. Christmas came, and it was the worst day I'd ever had. The boys tried to act normal, open presents, put up the tree, but Jessica wasn't there. I wore a shirt that day with her picture on it, "Find Jessica," in big letters. I couldn't smile, couldn't pretend it was okay. 3 months she'd been gone, over 90 days, and we had nothing. I'd look out the window wondering if she was cold, if she was scared, if she even knew we were looking. It hurt so bad thinking she might be alone on Christmas with him. Then a few days later, December 28th, everything changed. I was on the phone with my sister, planning our next move, when another call came in. It was an FBI agent, Jerry. "We've got her," he said. "We've got Jessica and Daniel." I couldn't talk, just handed the phone to Mark, tears running down my face. They'd found her in a hotel in Memphis, Tennessee, after someone saw her picture on America's Most Wanted and tipped them off. A lady at the hotel recognized them, said they'd checked in as Dave and Cindy Miller, a dad and daughter with some sad story about moving south. The FBI raided the room that night, got Jessica out, and took Daniel away. I flew to Memphis as fast as I could. When I got there, they took me down a hall to see her. She looked different. Her hair was cut short, dyed black, and she was so thin. She ran to me, and we hugged, both crying. "Mom," she said over and over. It was her, my girl, after 104 days. I'd never felt anything like it. Relief, love, all mixed together. She was safe, but it wasn't over. Not really. Jessica told me later what happened, piece by piece. Daniel had abused her for years. Back when he was at her school, before he even took her, he'd lock her in rooms, hurt her, tell her she was nothing, threatened to kill us if she told. That weekend in September, Tom let her go with him, thinking it was about her writing. Daniel tied her up in the car, drove her away, made her call him Dad, and use a fake name. They flew out of St. Louis, ended up in Memphis, living in rundown hotels. He'd hurt her more there, kept her locked up, barely fed her, tried to make her forget who she was. She'd tried to call me once, from a phone in the room, but he'd messed with it so it wouldn't work. She thought she'd never get out. Coming home was hard. Jessica wasn't the same, not at first. She'd flinch at loud noises, wake up crying, even called herself Cindy for a while. She had bruises, cuts, needed surgeries from what he'd done. Kids at school were mean, said she should have run, called her weak. It made her feel worse, but we got her through it. Me, Mark, her brothers. We stuck by her, told her she was strong, that none of it was her fault. Teachers helped too, good ones who cared. Daniel went to trial in '96. Jessica had to testify, hours of it, telling everything. His lawyers tried to say she wanted to go with him, but she didn't break. He got 40 years, no parole. After that, she started healing. She went back to her art, finished school, even went to college, studied psychology to help people like her. She got married later, had kids of her own, which doctors didn't think she could after all that. She's tough, tougher than anyone knows. Me, I still think about it, those months, that Christmas. We talk about it sometimes, Jessica and me, to help others, to keep it from happening again. She's out there now, speaking at schools, helping survivors. I made it, she says, so others can too. And to Daniel Reese, you didn't win. She's home, and she's ours.